Hello, girls, gays, and Lysander. Today we're going to be talking about an episode of Black Mirror. New show alert. Black Mirror, episode San Junipero or Junipero. I don't remember how to say it. I really like this episode. I think it's a very sweet episode, and I would love to share my love of this with you. The episode opens on a girl walking through a city. It looks like maybe it's the 80s based off of everyone's outfits and, you know, the mood around the area. And she's walking down the street. She sees what looks to be a couple arguing, a girl saying, Yo, leave me alone. The guy's like, Oh, come on, we got something special. And she's like, No, we didn't. Go away, leave me alone. And they both walk into a dance club. Yorkie, the girl we're following, walks in after them. And instead of dancing and joining the fray or getting a drink, she goes to the back of the club where there's an arcade. And she's playing a game. One of the dudes tries to hit on her, maybe, tries to, get with her. She kind of softly drinks it off her and turns away, going back into the fray. She sits at a table, orders a Coke, is chilling. She sees the dude from the previous couple looking for the girl, and then the girl walks up to her and it says, Go along with everything I say. So she does. And the guy's like, Oh, come on. And she's like, Really, I'm gonna red light you. She says, My friend here, I haven't seen her in forever. She's dying in 6 months. Come on, let me talk to her. And the guy's like, fine. Yorkie like chimes in and is like, actually, I'm dying in 5 months. And, you know, they talk, they vibe, they chill for a couple more minutes before a song comes on that this girl, Kelly, says, Oh, we have to dance. Come on, let's go. And Yorkie's like, Oh no, I can't dance, but Kelly convinces her and pulls her over to the dance floor. And Yorkie's like, Really, I can't dance. And Kelly's like, Oh, it doesn't matter, just do what I do. And I noticed during this part that everyone in the background is also copying Yorkie's moves. Don't know what that means, but yeah, so everyone's copying Kelly's moves. I don't know what that means exactly, but yeah, it's like kind of interesting to see. And the music takes over, neither of them are talking, they're both kind of just jamming in time. And I kind of like this scene. It's very cute. It does a shot of both of their faces back and forth. It's a nice little scene, bro. So Yorkie runs out of the club and Kelly goes to follow her, sees her outside sitting, under an awning. It's raining out, which is really pretty. And she sits with her and asks what's wrong. And Yorkie says, Well, we're two girls dancing together. People are going to think something's up with us. And Kelly's like, no one cares. Everyone is too absorbed in themselves and having their own fun. They're not going to notice us. It's not a big deal. And she kind of slides her hand onto Yorkie's leg, and Yorkie is like, oh. And then, it's kind of like, oh, are they going to kiss? And then Yorkie jumps away and is like, no, 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 no. I have a fiance. His name is Greg. And Kelly is like, well, is he here right now? And while I understand kind of the whole like, well, he's not here, so what's he gonna do? I also would not like Kelly to endorse cheating, please. But whatever. Kelly is like, yeah, how about we just go back home to my bed, Just a little bit. And Yorkie's almost convinced, and then she's like, nah, I can't. And I don't quite remember if it hits midnight before they fully separate or not, but I feel like so we open up a week later. We're with Yorkie, good girl Yorkie. And she, after a talk she had with Kelly, where she was like, I want to try new things. She takes off her glasses. She tries a couple different new outfits just to see how it feels, but goes back to old reliable with the glasses and a nice, comfortable fit, and she goes off. Now we're with Kelly, and Kelly is walking down an alley being followed by Wes. And Wes is like, Come on, we have something special. It's not like those guys at the Quagmire. We don't know what the Quagmire is. And he's like, Come on, I want to have something real with you. And Kelly's like, No, there's nothing real between us. this isn't going to work. Go find someone else. You know how many other people are here that you could just go talk to instead of me? Go find someone else who matches your energy instead of me who doesn't want you, which she's very real for that. She goes into the bar. This dude walks up and is like, "Hey yo," and she's like, "Hey," and they're like talking or whatever. Yorkie walks in, sees them talking, doesn't want to interrupt them. She sits to the side, orders a rum and coke, and is just kind of watching them. They end up sitting like nearby her, still talking. She's staring at Kelly, obviously, and Kelly looks at her a couple times, goes to the bathroom. Yorkie follows her to the bathroom, which I usually would say is weird, but in this situation, I will give it a pass. So she follows her to the bathroom, and Kelly's like, "What you doing in here, weirdo?" And Yorkie's like, "I want to like try this. I want to try and do this, but I'm scared. You need to show me how." And Kelly's like, "Hey, no problem, dude. I got you." They go to Kelly's house. It's a beach house. It's a very nice house, and Yorkie's like, "This house is very nice." They go off to Kelly's room. They, you know, become gay or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it. That's the best you got, dude. They go off to Kelly's room and they, have some fun together. And then they're laying there talking. And while they're talking, Yorkie asks Kelly, like, "Hey, why are you here? Like, what's your plan here in San Junipero?" And Kelly's like, "Well, I had a husband. That's how I found out I was gay," which is kind of what Yorkie asked her. Like, "That's how I found out I was gay. I was with him, and I never tried anything because I loved him like that. But he left me 2 years ago, and now I'm here. I'm trying stuff out. This is the best I've got. I just want to see where life takes me, and that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing here." And then um, Kelly looks at the clock and says, "It's time is nearly up." And Yorkie says, "Then let's just lay here together." And they do. And then the clock hits midnight and everything goes dark. I really like that scene as well. I just think it's really cute how Yorkie got over her like hesitance around being with Kelly. Now, we're still gonna, for some reason, forget about Greg. Don't know why, but we are. Forget about Greg. And I really like these two together. Like, it seems like they really understand each other at this point, and that, like, Kelly understands Yorkie's, like, pulling back, and Yorkie is trying to get out of her comfort zone by spending more time with Kelly. I just think it's really cute, and it really, like, has bones. Has good bones. I love this story. I literally love this episode so much. You will never understand. We're back a week later with Yorkie, and she's looking for Kelly. She can't find her, and she asks the bartender at the dance club they always go to, like, "Hey, have you seen Kelly?" He says, "Well, if you can't find her, you should try the Quagmire." She goes. The Quagmire seems to be some sort of freaky club type deal, and she can't find Kelly there. It's a very overstimulating scene, which I think is meant to be the point. There's loud music playing, there's really weird lights, people are grabbing onto Yorkie, trying to feel on her. She tries to leave and she bumps into Wes, the dude that Kelly was rejecting earlier in the episode. And he's like, "Oh, she got to you too, huh?" And then he's like, "Well, she's worth a shot, so she try the 90s and 2002 because she hangs around there often." So she does. She finds Kelly in the 2000s, 2 weeks later, and they go talk in the bathroom. And Kelly, you know, is like, "I I don't want to do this. I don't want to be serious with you. This is not fun for me." Because the whole point she's in San Junipero is to have fun. So she says. Um, and Yorkie's like, "Fine, whatever." Leaves the bathroom, leaves the whole club, just disappears. And Kelly seems to get upset at something. She sits there for a second and then she punches the mirror, which instantly fixes itself. So she goes outside and is like looking for her. And she asks the people, like, "Hey, have you seen Yorkie?" And they pointed up a building. Kelly goes up there and is like, "Hey, I hope you got your pain slider set to 0." And Yorkie's like, "I'm pretty sure I do." And then Yorkie asks, "How many of them down there do you think are dead?" And Kelly says, "Probably 80 to 85%." And Kelly is like, "I decided not to do feelings here. Like, I just want to have fun and experience things. I didn't come here to like do feelings. I wasn't prepared for you," is what she tells Yorkie, which I think is really cute. Um, and then they kiss. They go back to Kelly's house again, and they're on the back porch talking. And, Yorkie says that she's getting married next week. She has to get married to Greg. He's a really nice guy, but Greg pities her, and her family hates him. Kelly is like, "Do you have to get married?" And Yorkie's like, "Yeah, I do." Um, and then Kelly reveals that she's got cancer and that she's dying in 4 months. And, she just came here to have fun before she died. And then Y says, "You should stay in San Junipero after." And Kelly says, "No, because my husband, when he passed, he decided not to be plugged in and stay in San Junipero. And I want to honor the choice that I made when he died, that I wasn't going to do it either. He didn't even want to try the trial period." So there's that. Um, and then Yorkie says that, "Oh, if we met in real life, you wouldn't like me." And Kelly asks why. And she's like, I don't think this is gonna work out really much. Um, and then Kelly's like, "Well, I revealed my location to you. Tell me where you live." And Yorkie gives her her location, and then it hits midnight while they're sitting on the back porch, leaning on one another, smoking a cigarette. It has no flavor. We open the next part of the episode with an older lady getting into a transport van and entering this very clean space, kind of like a hospital. And a man greets her and says she won't be able to respond to you, but she can hear you. She gets taken up to a room with a woman who seems to be in, like a coma type situation. She says hello, she caresses her hand, she kisses her forehead, and then she leaves the room because all she really wanted to do was say hi to Yorkie and see her in real life. And when she leaves the room, there's this man. He's like, "Oh, hey, are you Kelly?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm Kelly." And he's like, "Oh, I'm Greg." And she's like, "Oh." And Greg, both of the women look like they're much older, 60s, 70s area, while Greg looks like he's maybe in his 30s. So he asks her for a coffee. They sit down and they talk about, Yorkie and what happened. And according to Greg, when Yorkie was 21, she came out to her parents. They didn't like it. She drove off in a huff, got in a car, and ended up how she is now. And she's been like this for 40 years. He explains to Kelly that they're getting married because he needs to be able to sign off, like a family member, a doctor, and Yorkie need to sign off on her wanting to, you know, sign up and be in San Junipero for the rest of her life. Like, just from now on, she wants to basically euthanize herself. And he's like, "Well, I have to marry her so that as a spouse, I can just tell her, and I've never been married before, so what does it matter?" So Kelly's like, "Can you hook us up for just really quickly?" He says they monitor that super closely. And she's like, "Please, I just want to talk to her 5 minutes." He's like, "All right, you got 5 minutes." They go in. Yorkie's like, "I've never been here during the day." And Kelly's like, "Hold on, don't talk. I need to ask you something." She gets down on her knee and she proposes. She says, "Marry me instead." Oh my God. It's so cute. Of course, Yorkie says yes. Ah. Anyways, afterwards, they go back into the system later that night. And after Yorkie has been like put into the machine permanently, and Kelly pulls up and is like, "Hey, why aren't you wearing a wedding dress? It's the day that we've been married." Yorkie's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." Changes into a wedding dress. They're both very cute. They go drive off. They're hanging out together. And then comes the part that I don't like so much, where Yorkie's like, "Hey, why don't you just join me here, live together forever? We could be happy." And Kelly's like, "I only married you to send you here to for convenience. I don't want to be here forever. My husband said no, so I'm saying no." She explains that she had a daughter that died early. I'm forgetting how she died, but she had a daughter that died. Her husband said, "Why would I go into the machine when my daughter never had the chance?" So, they died peacefully. And she said she wants to honor that choice and she wants to be with her family in the afterlife, but she doesn't believe an afterlife exists. These next parts happen relatively quickly, so I'm just going to speed through them really fast. So, what happens next is Kelly gets in her car, drives off, leaving Yorkie where they were after she slaps her for whatever, after the argument and everything. Kelly drives off and she's not paying attention to anything, or maybe she did it on purpose. She crashes, flies out of her car, flips, dips, whatever, lands. And Yorkie's like, "Here, let me help you up." But before she can grab Yorkie's hand, midnight hits and she's out of the machine. And we kind of see a montage of, Kelly not being in the machine as her, old lady self, which I think is very cute. And she's like kind of just living life or whatever. And then she tells her caregiver, "I'm ready." And she decides to actually put herself in the machine. And yeah, and then the next thing we see is Yorkie in her own car with a license plate Yorkie. It's so cute. It's a nice little red thing. Um, and she drives over to Kelly's house. Kelly comes out and is like, "Hey, it's so cute." They join up together. They get out of there. They go off to live their happy little lives. It's just so cute because like they get to be together in the end. Their argument didn't really change their feelings for each other. They found love through this like machine. This is the most hopeful episode of Black Mirror, I think. Like all the other ones show how technology is going to like ruin lives and how the furthering of technology can kind of like destroy humanity in a way. And this one is kind of like, yeah, but technology can also do things like bring people together who would have never met before. And like, since Yorkie, after being 21, like, she could no longer walk, move, anything of that sort. Like, she had to live in a hospital bed. And even further, she had uber religious parents that would not allow her to euthanize herself. So she had to sit there, unable to move, and then she had to like wait for a technology to come along that would allow her to move again in the way that she used to. And I don't know, it's just like I think that this is a very hopeful episode. It's like a positive of what could happen in the future with technology, like giving people the ability to walk again, or at least the feeling of being able to walk again. Maybe their body won't, but like they will be able to walk and move again in another life, kind of. They're given another chance to like grow and age and stuff. And it's like really, really beautiful, honestly. And like, I don't know, I really like this episode. Like, it is one of my favorites for a reason. Now, there are episodes like Metalhead or 15 Million Merits, or I'm forgetting the other one, but those episodes, Nosedive, those episodes kind of show like where technology is going and how it could harm humanity. And like, well, that's important, yes, like we shouldn't go that far in the future. I think this episode really shows that, like, in the future, we could absolutely just make things that make people's lives easier and make people's lives better through this. Like San Junipero is kind of like the idea of having somewhere to go after death. Like if someone is about to die too soon in life, like a very young person, or if someone is like, a paraplegic and isn't living a very good life. Even people who have like severe mental disabilities that make it so they're unable to walk properly, talk properly, could theoretically go into this world and be able to do those things, which I think is like really interesting and a really good thing that technology could do. Which is why I'm happy that Black Mirror had an episode about this and that like it's a positive one too, because these two women, they found love in each other from like across, like one lived in Nevada, the other I think lived in California. They probably never would have met naturally, but in this world they did meet and they found their loves like for Kelly, it was her second love in life. And for Yorkie, she never got to have a love in life because she was stuck in a hospital bed like that. I just think this is really beautiful and I really love this episode. All right, well, that's enough yapping for me. So, like if you want, subscribe if you want. You're your own person. I can't tell you what to do. Bye.